This is not only a story of those 88 people, but this is a story of so many of us. My name is Anastasia Gajkowska, and when I left my abusive relationship, I wanted to create a movie, a film, a documentary where I interview not only survivors but thrivers. I mean, people who left abusive relationships and they're really thriving now. I flew to Hollywood to learn the art of making films. I asked 8 questions. This documentary is a sample of combined stories. I use my laptop camera, my phone camera. Many recordings you will see in this documentary were filmed by survivors in their own home. All our participants decided to share their story voluntarily. 88 stories, one soul, one voice, one calling for the whole humanity. Hello and welcome. In this episode, we're going to talk about healing. What helped those 88 survivors, thrivers, who shared their stories in Exposé documentary to heal their body, their mind, and their soul.
Takes on average 7 to 10 times to leave.
I was a mess, in emotional turmoil. Well, I'm free. I can do what I want. I started using cocaine just to try and suppress the emotions that I couldn't deal with. I wasn't being Jennifer. I wasn't being me.
I'm essentially in a prison, the same way he's in a prison. There is no way I'm going to allow him to have any more of a negative influence over me and my life. I was like, I'm going to take control of this.
I'm not going to allow them to rent space in my mind and in my soul, because maybe I spent that season of my life hurt, but I'm not going to give them my future.
What helped me the most to heal is therapy and believing in myself.
10 years I wasted sitting on the couch, not making a decision because I didn't think that I was capable of making a decision. I realized that I could choose to do or be anything that I wanted.
If you've been through narcissistic abuse, your self-esteem will be rock bottom. And that's okay. You can get well. You can heal. And the first thing that you'll need to do is take your healing into your own hands. Use your intuition to guide you through the process of what will help you the most. Get your team of healers and follow your heart.
Can know that, you're not alone and that you can survive. You don't have to be a victim. You can be a survivor.
Do find a support group, because for me, yes, like the tools they teach are incredible and I apply them every day now in my relationships about receiving criticism, communication, boundaries, agreements in relationships. And I use them consciously now, but you realize the stories are similar. And I don't think I really owned the fact that I was in an abusive relationship until I heard other women, and suddenly they gave me paper like cycle of abuse. And I was like, that's exactly my relationship on a paper. And, one thing as well, they keep saying, when you are ready and find a new relationship, a healthy relationship can almost seem boring. And I keep hearing it all the time. And it's something, we talked about in the beginning, like the calmness suddenly feels like weird because I'm so used to stress since I was a child. And just like having those insights and other people talking, and it's like, it's okay that you're going to go through this. And we all do, but just stay with it, because when it's healthy, it's the best thing in the world. So I just would say, don't stay isolated. And unfortunately, one of the things that I was told is the abuse usually lasts so long because the family members, the friends are just looking the other direction because they see what's going on. And, the thing is that my ex-husband's mother-in-law, she saw my bruises, she knew very well, and she kept doing nothing. And that's why I'm not in touch with her. I don't want to see that woman ever in my life. But, I didn't even realize it because I took so much blame on me. And, so just, if you kind of think something's going on, and if you have friends who are brave enough to say, hey, this is not okay, don't let somebody treat you this way, listen to them. Listen to them, because we think we're in love and this is special. They make you feel special, like nobody's like you. You're never going to have that kind of relationship. And, that's bullshit. It's all manipulation, and there are lots of people out there, and not only survivors, they're thrivers. Like, it really, you can thrive. And I actually really realized who I'm after this. So in a way, it was the biggest blessing of my life. It was the biggest awakening, because I had to face my parents, my inner child, and I had to face the pain I never wanted to feel. And now it's okay. I can feel pain, and I don't have to stay in a relationship that's toxic not to feel pain. If any kind of relationship doesn't work, I will walk out and I will feel the pain, and it's okay. So maybe part of it is, feel the pain if it's there, because we're often staying because we don't want to feel the pain of leaving. But it's not that bad. Like, it's much better than getting hurt or killed or brainwashed or, leave, and there is support out there. I don't know what's the rest of United States, but New Mexico has really good support system for domestic abuse. I don't know how California or, and I don't know much about Europe, unfortunately, but there is support,
Z tego się wychodzi.
Sometimes we just need someone to be strong for us until we can be strong for ourselves.
Someone needs to say, I get it, it hurts, I understand, and you're right, and we're going to help you get through this, and we're going to do it together. Then they have the strength to do almost anything.
The thing I'm proud of myself is finding a person that specializes in narcissistic abuse.
You can't process if you're repeating everything over and over in your head. You can't process if you're not talking.
So I found a therapist who is extremely trauma informed. She's amazing. I'm so glad I found her. When I was reading about complex post-traumatic stress, the first book I read was from Pete Walker, CPTSD, Surviving to Thriving. And I read The Body Keeps the Score, which was incredible as well. So these books really helped me to understand that that trauma is a physical issue. It's held in the body and it needs to be treated that way. And then I understood that this is why I've never had success in therapy before, because a lot of therapists think that cognitive behavioral therapy is the key to everything and it's going to help you, even people with trauma. But I mean, although I think some people have had success with it, I did not. I actually found it re-traumatizing. And since I've met this new therapist, or that therapist, she's been working on my responses. like you were talking about with the responses, it's so important to learn to manage those physical responses that we have to people and triggers. That's what put me in that situation. When my ex was being abusive in the way he was, my initial response was to please and fawn versus protect myself. I mean, I felt like I was protecting myself, and I was protecting myself. That's what my body was doing. It was protecting me by fawning and by being, whatever he wanted me to be. But learning to calm my physical sensations and to understand that emotions are okay to have. Learning that when these uncomfortable feelings come up, I need to actually go into myself and feel them and label them and process them versus push them away. I find that was sort of the beginning of my healing process, was doing that, like just coming to terms and understanding myself and my emotions. And I didn't even know when I was angry. Like my therapist would be like, how are you feeling right now? And I'm like, I don't know. Like are you angry? I don't think so. Like I just didn't know I was angry. But my body language told her that I was. And so anyway, I've been through some different things. I had a coach who brought me information on the polyvagal theory, which I thought was so logical. And so I did a map of my nervous system, like when I'm in various states and what happens to me when I'm triggered physically, emotionally, what I'm thinking about, how I see the world in those states, which really helped me to understand when I'm in those states so that I can then try to bring myself back to a feeling of safety and even just recognize when I am feeling safe and calm. I realized that I had been living my life in survival mode, just in a constant state of fight or flight, and just anxiety, panic, always. And that's why I've always been exhausted and needed so much sleep. Like I'm telling you, like I'm tired because my body is constantly pumping me like adrenaline and cortisol and all these horrible things. So anyway, so I've been doing some different therapies recently that I found have actually like helped me improve so substantially. I did something called Safe and Sound Protocol, which is actually developed by Stephen Porges, who created the polyvagal theory. And it was just listening to music half an hour a day for 10 days. And it actually, I've had my whole life, I've had a feeling in my stomach. And I know that a lot of trauma survivors have stomach issues or like butterflies or something, like feelings of choking, those types of things. I get it in my stomach and throat, and it was almost constant, and it's completely gone. Like 10 days of listening to music and that feeling is gone. Apparently it exercises your brain in certain ways that helps you to feel more of a sense of safety and calm and brings you back to that state. And then I also now have started with EMDR. I started that in the spring, and it's been great. Like I went to a water park and I wore my bathing suit, and I know this seems very like nothing, but for me this is a huge thing. I wore my bathing suit and I had a nice day. Like I was looking at other people and comparing myself, and but I didn't cover myself, and it didn't ruin my day. And for me that's like wow. Like when I went to my therapist and told her that, she was like, it's working. So it's so great. So because I started with that childhood stuff, that was where I guess that's where I'm seeing the improvements, right, with the body image. And I let go of the fitness lifestyle. I am eating normally. I had a list of food rules, you don't know how long, that I was restricting, punishing myself with diet and exercise. And I've come to a more comfortable place, like just feeling more normal. I blocked my abuser, obviously, right away. That was the first thing that helped me. with the trauma bond, making sure that there was absolutely no way that he can access me, including mutual friends. I blocked all of the mutual friends that we had. There was 2 people that I kept as friends because I really like them, but they're not really friends with him. They just know him through being like going to similar places and things like that. But I had told them, please don't tell me anything about him. I don't want to know anything about him. Just don't say a word. I just don't want to hear about it. And they respect that. So I'm able to maintain those friendships. But, you know, it has been really isolating because I did have to kind of remove myself from my old life. I had to change gyms. I don't go to the same places I used to go. I had to get rid of my friends. What else? I came off social media 100%. I just went back on actually for this. Yeah, you know, I opened one account on Instagram as like an incognito account just to follow some healing stuff, and also some body positive women who are all different shapes and sizes, and they present themselves without filters, and it helped me so much to feel like I'm a normal person. Anyway, so now I'm going to be going into EMDR with my therapist, and we're going to start with this relationship. So this is going to be difficult to go through the actual experiences that I had in that relationship, because I still have nightmares. I still ruminate. I still have flashbacks, and I still fear seeing him on the street or seeing people that he knows. I don't know what I would say. You know what I mean? Like there are things that still really are really hard for me, but honestly, the biggest thing that I did was remove him from my life, and I don't care about all of the other people that I lost. I don't feel like people who want to maintain relationships with him are really actually true friends. It's difficult because when you express to tell people stories about this, a lot of people just can't fathom that these kinds of people exist. And so it sounds really out there, along with that person smearing you and saying that you're crazy and all of these things. It's very difficult. So sometimes it's a better to remove all of those people from your life so that you feel safe and respected. And I've gained a lot of new friendships since it happened. You know, people who are self-aware and people who are trying to make themselves better, and people who believe me, you know, and I believe them. You know, it's nice. So yeah, the healing process has been, it's been like crazy difficult, like probably the hardest thing I've ever done, but I'm really happy that it happened.
Being heard and being seen is really important at that phase of just really understanding, oh my gosh, I was injured. That was an injury, you know, whether there was a physical injury that was visible or not, that's not the point. Trauma of any kind is an injury.
My therapist was like, yeah, this person, this family member is an asshole. And I didn't catch it then because I was so used to being dismissed. It's like, yeah, no, but you don't understand. Like, this person's done this and this and this to me. Then I realized, wait, she actually affirmed what I had to say. And that's, I think, one of the first times I felt heard.
My feelings tell me if I'm happy, if I'm sad. My feelings tell me if I trust this person or I don't trust this person. My feelings tell me if I feel safe with this person or unsafe with this person. So feelings are everything. So getting back in touch with my feelings is really, really critical. The problem is if I'm the adult child of a dysfunctional parent, I've been taught that my feelings don't matter.
The first time I kind of ate alone, I just started to cry. cry. And it was because I was so used to sharing my food and what I would make with him. And it was just like, it was physically painful, emotionally painful, but I just, and I was guided again, just let it flow, like lean into the pain, like ride the tidal wave. And then I heard that when we allow those chemical reactions, these emotions to come out, it literally, it lasts about 90 seconds. But if we resist it, then they kind of go back inside. But if we just kind of lean into it, it feels like it might break us in half, but it never really does. If we can, and breath was so important. My guys were like, you need to breathe, breathe in and out deeply to bring in your light and allow what needs to go out.
He still wrote me an email a month ago how much he loves me and wants me back. And now I'm finally angry about it. I'm like, who do you think you are? It took me 14 months to get to the anger.
People confront the pain, and you can't use substance to numb the pain.
Feel your feelings. Stop eating them, stop smoking them, stop drinking them, stop sexting them, stop Netflixing them, stop exercising them, stop avoiding them, stop repressing them. Feel them.
You don't have to justify your actions of why you feel your feelings to anyone. They are yours.
Grieving. It's really important. You don't want to overstep that one. And that's a place where talk therapy, where counseling can be very, very helpful.
A lot of times we are grieving for the parent we never had, the parent we don't have now, and the parent that they will never be. And we have to allow time for that as well. It's definitely a lot of grief and loss.
I need to take care of me. And so that's what I did. And I did grieve. It was difficult, but it was cleansing. It allowed me to open my mind to possibilities.
Start to learn who I am again.
Loving myself and forgiving myself.
I felt as if every moment that I walked away from something bad, I gained so much within myself, because it was this yes to my being and to myself, that I learned how to unconditionally love me.
I remember just lying on the floor and just being I just sort of let go. I just really fully let go.
You're transmuting that energy, right, into the natural other elements, right? Earth, air, water, wind, metal. Use them. Earth is plentiful.
Knowing my worth and that I didn't have to be mistreated like that ever again.
Tam się mi otworzyły oczy, że relacja, którą stworzyłam ze swoim byłym mężem, była poniekąd przeniesieniem relacji z moją mamą, gdzie nie czułam takiego dowartościowania, jakie potrafi dać mama swojej córce.
Zaczęłam być coraz bardziej świadoma, uzdrawiałam siebie, bo wiedziałam, że mam jakieś deficyty, tak, że ja też po coś go potrzebowałam. Nie kocham siebie, w ogóle nie mam żadnych granic. W ogóle nie wiedziałam, co to są granice, tak? Każdy mógł ze mną robić, co chciał. Byłam zawsze dla wszystkich, tylko nie dla siebie.
Realizing I don't have to explain myself to anyone else, as long as I know what I'm doing is right for me and it's not hurting anyone else and it's on the path of love, then it's okay.
And now I understand that limerence is part of trauma. Codependency is an addiction because we are so physiologically trauma bonded to that individual.
I don't know who I am. If he dies, I will die too. I have 2 children. I couldn't even think for them.
Open your mind to possibilities and experience things. It changes how you interact with people.
You need to feel the fear and do it anyway. Leaving is not easy. He just made me feel old, ugly, worthless, that no one would want me, that he was the best I was ever going to get, that I could never do anything better than him. With the constant voice and, everything that they're saying, you just it must be true.
I deserve better.
I really deserve better.
I needed to dig deep and know that I was worthy of having better opportunities, and so are my children.
You to forgive yourself. That comes with, you know, letting it out, letting everything out and saying it's not your fault, because you're beautiful and you can do whatever you want to do. You know, it took me a long time because I was told those things too. Now I get my nails done whenever I want, and I don't care.
See the best parts of me and to honor the best parts of me.
I don't need another person to be whole. I know what I am. Nobody else can take that away from me.
I was working on me. I was working on becoming stronger in my mind, in my body. I was nourishing myself with affirmations. I was going out in nature, and I wanted to nourish myself back to health by looking after my body, by appreciating my body, appreciating everything I'd been through. For every bruise, I was nourishing me again, step by step, bit by bit, and building myself up, and I still am.
It was the movement therapy that really helped me to get past this freezing when I was, when we're in a disagreement. And I still go back to it now, and it felt really uncomfortable doing movement therapy because it's not something that I even knew about. Getting down on the floor and feeling the floor and grounding myself with my hands and my feet, and then moving up into standing. And another one was stomping, soft stomping, and how did I feel when I did hard stomping. And the things that came up when I was doing this therapy totally blew my mind. You know, situations that I had obviously blocked out that I witnessed as a child. And yeah, the movement therapy and dance therapy was just, it was so different to anything I've ever experienced. And it certainly shifted things through my nervous system, which is what it is to do, is to get back to your nervous system, to change your reaction to situations so that you don't. So I didn't go into that freeze mode when, you know, my husband wanted to talk about something I didn't want to talk about, really. When we were doing it, it reminded me of being in bed with my mum, because I would sleep with her to protect her. And one night my dad was sneaking. He snuck into his own house to try and frighten my mum. And, that's the stomping reminded me of him doing that. And, it was something that I had blocked out. And it was really bizarre, because she said, first of all, walk really lightly, and do you feel anything? And then, stomp really hard, and now do you feel anything? And and these memories came up that I didn't even think I had. It was amazing to me, and to be able to move through that and release those things and release that fear that I felt in those situations that I'd held on to in my nervous system for so many years.
I focus on EMDR therapy.
Like basically EDMR, what they do is they do this thing where there's music playing in the background and you have to follow their fingers like this, and then they ask you questions, and it's a bit like they put you into a state of how the different parts of the brain activate. Is basically, it's like a nightmare, but where you're awake. It's really unpleasant, but what it does is all that stuff that is suppressed, because you see, essentially all nightmares are, and panic attacks and PTSD is just blockages within your system. Obviously, your body's energy centers, and when we experience trauma, it creates blockages, especially when we don't want to deal with that and we suppress. And when we suppress, it causes these blockages, so that memories and things, it just can't be processed. So by having this very intensive treatment, it basically processed all of that stuff. And the EDMR, it was interesting because when I was doing it, it's like you can't really control the stuff that you're saying. It just, because it's just coming out from your subconscious. And I ended up talking about stuff to do with my first husband, so the husband before the abusive one, and stuff to do with my childhood. And it was stuff I didn't even really know that was even affecting me.
Healing is when I share my story and listen the other people their story, and that's really makes me free.
What really helped me to heal from all those abusive relationships, which I'm still healing from, is mostly sharing my story in a community of people who have experienced what I experienced. So that's why I believe in power of community and sharing your story.
And I would have to sleep with a metal pole by my bed, although he was in prison and my mind knew I was safe. I still didn't feel safe. My child had 18 months of counseling as well.
Is that if you don't know what you enjoy because you were with the narcissist for so long, do something that they hate. Over time, the more you get to know yourself, the more you feel like you're going to live, that you know you're okay alone.
Moments that I was like, just get on Tinder, like just like escape. And it really meditation and going and like really diving into my spirituality.
But I will say, the only reason that I was able to push through and make it through any of that is because I chose to give my life to a higher power. I realized that it's not about me, but it's about the calling that we all have that most people miss in their lives. Me meeting you.
If you don't address your past, you really don't ever get to course correct for your future.
And you have to evaluate, what part did I play in this?
Questioning myself and always asking myself, does this feel good for me? Is this right for me? Am I thriving? Am I accomplishing my own goals?
Really going back and getting to the root of, where did this start? Is it inner child? Is it ancestral? Is it I've just made bad choices in my life, or I've made the best choice I could and I'm still in a situation that's not that great? And then waking up to the fact that I can have a better life. Yes, there will be struggles. Yes, there will be things that we'll have to overcome, but knowing our bodies are safe and our minds and our emotions and our thoughts and our feelings are safe and our body is a safe place, that we create that safetyness for ourselves and our children, that's priceless.
I know that I love myself the way that I am.
Because there were days I forgot to bathe and there were days that I didn't brush my teeth. So it's hard. And if you are judging yourself and your healing process against the other, like I talked about, this other that you can't name, they don't have faces, they're just the other people must do it better. No, nobody does healing better. It's ugly.
I was left with anxiety disorder, PTSD. I was diagnosed with battered women syndrome. I was having panic attacks, nightmares, flashbacks. Had hypervigilance. I was on tablets from the doctor for my anxiety and depression. And then they gave me tablets to help me with my sleeping because I wasn't sleeping. And I would have to sleep with a metal pole by my bed, although he was in prison and my mind knew I was safe. I still didn't feel safe. And whenever I heard a loud noise or anything like that, I would instantly jump, have a panic attack. And I knew that although the tablets helped, they were only really dealing with the symptoms, and I knew I needed to go underneath to the root cause. So I started therapy. I mean, I managed to find a therapist who understood sexual abuse and domestic abuse and everything. And I probably worked with her for 6 or 7 months. Sometimes I'd have 2 sessions a week. It was very intense. You need to educate yourself. You need to get a support network. You need to get professional help. You need to cleanse your environment. And when I say cleanse, I mean block everyone and everything associated to your ex and, you know, that network. You need to work on implementing boundaries. And all of this you need to do with self-love, self-care, and self-compassion, because healing is hard, healing is messy, and you'll have good days and you'll have bad days, but you can get there. I mean, I'm now in a position where I don't have PTSD, I don't have nightmares, I don't have panic attacks. I'm not on any form of medication. I'm in a happy, healthy relationship. My daughter is fine. You know, so you can get to a point of complete darkness to a place of complete light and happiness. It is possible. In the UK, you can attend this program. It's called the Freedom Program, and it's like a 12-week group session where you go, you meet with other women, and you work through a program. And it's basically you getting the knowledge and the information about the different tactics that an abusive man uses, and also on a contrast what a healthy relationship looks like. But because it's done in a group setting, you don't feel so alone and you're able to share your experience. And I found that really helpful.
So I joined Codependence Anonymous. I worked a 12-step program. I became very spiritual. I joined a philosophy group, and they were teaching me believe it, think it, believe it, achieve it, that we're very powerful and we're really strong and we can reach any goal that we want, and how I need to get toxicities out of my life, and anything that's toxic, I need to remove all toxicities. And so I joined the spiritual group and I joined the CODA group. And through joining the CODA group and realizing the 12 steps of my childhood and everything I saw with my mom and my dad, and why did I end up in this crazy, chaotic relationship which I said no way I would ever do. And I ended up realizing, I ended up picking much better in my future.
When we leave that relationship, the only way to win playing a game with a narcissist is to go no contact, is to not engage, is to, or if we have to have contact with them, imagine if you're, you know, on that football field, if you just stand still and you're just there responding, maybe something's thrown at you and you go like this or you go like this, but you're not running and really investing emotional energy. Essentially, that is how you win with a narcissist, because they'll get bored. We're viewing these, you know, this person, we love them, we want to be with them, we think they're going to be the father or mother of our children, we think we're going to build a house or buy a house or have some retire together, and that is the hook. So, you know, and that's also the thing, going back to why when we leave, it is hard, because we have bought into this dream, we have bought into this fairy tale that they have sold us. So, and we genuinely believe that that is what was going to happen with that person. So when we leave, we grieve, we are sad, we have, yes, that person was abusive and never deserved us, but we have still experienced loss. The best approach you can take, because if you think about it, you are addicted to this person, and any time you have any contact with them, what you are doing, it's like you are giving yourself a shot of that drug.
If I look at my x-ray of my spine and see my 15 bulging discs, I want it to remind me of how far I've come and not where I was.
It was the biggest blessing of my life. It was the biggest awakening, because I had to face my parent, my inner child.
And I've had folks say to me, I will never be grateful for what happened to me. I will never have gratitude for what happened to me. And that's their choice. And I choose to be grateful for what happened to me, because it set me off on this path of discovery that is amazing. Inherent in that, it is going to be for a lifetime. So for me, in order to know that healing takes a lifetime, I have to find some gratitude in what occurred. I have to find gratitude in the fact that my children lived through, you know, the person who abused me was not their father. So my children lived through loving someone and investing in someone who was a complete charade and a horrific human being. And then as a mother, I have to go back to them and apologize. And some of my children are fine with that apology, some are not. And that's something I'll have to navigate for the rest of my life. And so I choose gratitude. And maybe somebody else has a word for it that's different as far as looking at the lifelong healing. Some people talk about forgiveness. I am not a fan of that. And that might be because I love the boundary of I can put somebody, you know, through a window and very far away. I don't live in hatred, but I view myself as Switzerland, and Switzerland, you know, has always been the neutral country. And growing up, it was my favorite country because I thought, oh my gosh, how cool is this? They're not getting involved in anything. And so for me, it's not forgiveness, because the choices were horrific that this person made in issuing abuse against me and my children, against my family, because it does affect families. But I don't care if anything really, really, really good happens to him. I also don't care if anything really, really, really bad happens to him. Like if he wins the lottery, good for him. If he never has to work a day in his life, good for him. I don't care. So this neutrality of it doesn't cling to me. It doesn't make me think about him. It doesn't make me, oh my gosh, I have to forgive, or I can never let go. I've already let go. I let go like way back in the summer of 2016. And so that ability for me might be different than somebody else. Whatever you can put onto healing that allows you to keep healing is the part that is most important to do. And however you get there is most important to do, because it is going to be a lifetime. And, you know, I wouldn't have even connected what if I'd left then, except he was in the picture. And I wouldn't have even connected him to an event because he's not in my brain, but he was in the picture. And it made me think, what if I had left at 9 months? It'd take me another 6 years to leave. What if I had left 11 years ago on this day? And you then have to deal with what that feels like. And so for me, it's a big pause, it's a big exhale, it's meditating on how lucky I am to be alive and away from him, regardless of how long it took, and moving forward. And those things are going to happen. And usually, because your body does keep the score, sometimes it's Facebook memory, sometimes it's, gosh, I can't shake this feeling. Oh, it's that date. You know, and again, I'm not thinking about it. My body is reacting to something. And then I look at a calendar, I'm like, oh, I remember that date. Again, it's not ever present. For some people early in their journey, it could be ever present. Again, whatever healing format you need to take to navigate it, your healing shouldn't be compared to anybody else's, but keep seeking out the tools and the resources so that those good days, even when you have a memory that randomly pops up, it's you can navigate it better.
It's a healing journey. Sometimes it can take a while to kind of walk out of the woods. However long it took us to walk into the woods might be how long it takes to walk out. And there's no like prize for first place. There's no timeline. It's all about, being in a place of readiness to do that hard internal work.
I do believe that healing is possible for everyone. And I do believe that life can be much, much better than it ever was, and even than they imagined it can be. It's all about coming out of that trance of misery and starting to discover what's good about your life and what's good about yourself. And then one of the things you can like about yourself is, goodness me, I've become the kind of person who can be positive because I've looked at a flower, because I can enjoy that. I've become the kind of person who can enjoy things. Whoa, do I even know myself? What else am I capable of? And then you start to grow and blossom and get fascinated about yourself.
Healing is possible. I started like the healing journey long ago, like 7 years ago, and I have gotten a lot better. But I wouldn't say like I'm gonna stop and now I'm gonna like just stop doing that. For me, it's a practice. Every day that I go back to my practices, like doing some movement exercises, like embodiment practices, maybe breathing exercises, just something to keep me grounded and whole and balanced and regulate my emotions.
Your healing process is yours to own and yours to navigate, and don't judge it against anybody else. Just know that the continuation of one foot in front of the other.
Healing is happening all the time. It doesn't mean that you have to follow a certain formula or do a certain amount of things. It's very personal. It starts with you. But once you have made that decision, and of course, you, like with many things, you'll go one step forward and 2 steps back. It's not all, one clear straight road. But that shift is present in your energy, in your tone of voice, even when you lose your temper, it's there. It's like an energetic signature that others will see, feel, and it can, this is something I think is fascinating, that we are now moving into this information age. It's an energetic age. It's a creator economy, many ways you can call it. But the fact is that we are learning that we're more than just physical beings. There is so much that we can actually heal by being open to it ourselves, by having an insight into what is it, by identifying it, and also I think being responsible and growing. It's a kind of a growing up, taking responsibility for the future, and that and this comes to healing the planet and the environment, that you do have the power to change things, because it's a message of a lot of hope. You know, if we didn't have this opportunity to heal and to heal generations backwards and forwards, they even say, but definitely if we're looking at it from a linear point for our children, then that is a message of hope. And it's why we've evolved and we keep evolving.
Everything is made up of energy. So when you're picking up from conditioning and patterning and paradigms in your life, you're not just picking it up from your life alone. You're not just picking it up from your parents. But this, if you do not heal this, if you do not break the pattern, it goes back 7 generations back and forth. So whatever you do not heal within yourself, you are passing on to your kids and your kids, kids, and so on.
Survivors who never healed, so now they're becoming abusers, and that's the cycle. It's our responsibility to heal from it and not to spread it, because then you take it out on your children, you take it out on people in the store. We need to stop and heal ourselves, and that's going to heal the society, that's going to heal this planet.
I ended up changing what I was attracted to. I was attracted to the tough, hard, kind of a guy, and I changed and was attracted to a completely different kind of a guy.
Yeah, I found financial independence for the first time in my life, and really, you know, I'm getting paid for creative work that I love to do. And yeah, it's just, I can't even begin. Like, I have my own place, like I live by the beach. I'm creating like regularly. I'm just really doing all the things or fulfilling all of my dreams. But the most important part really is that it's not about the things. It's like I just feel so good. Like that's the part, like if I had the thing, if the things happen, it doesn't mean anything if you're not feeling good inside already. So it's more that I feel, just excited about life. So my instincts are really strong now. I literally, like, since that relationship, people keep saying to me, how do you know how to listen to your instincts? And I'm like, honestly, I just had a really bad experience. And ever since then, like anytime I'm in a situation that doesn't feel right for me, my whole tummy tightens up and I can't tolerate that feeling anymore. It's very intense. And so I know very quickly. And so then I go away and sort of do my work to realign myself. So that's invaluable as well, because it's not just in dating. I mean, that's in the workplace and, knowing who's the right fit to work with and things like that.
I've broken the pattern. And he was like, why would I? Why would I ever treat you with a lack of respect? Why would I ever treat you with a lack of love and respect that you deserve? And I was just like, it's gone. Because my energy shifted, because I chose me. I decided this is what I want and I am not tolerating anything less.
I'm going to say yes to myself. I'm going to trust myself. I'm going to respect my boundaries. I'm going to celebrate myself.
It is your life. Your life is a choose your own adventure. Your life is a story that you get to write. You are the author of your own story. So do not sit there and play the role of the victim, be like, everything happens to me. No. You get to consciously choose and consciously create. And that is when you actually get to literally take back your power, because you're like, I am choosing this. or I am tolerating this. So if you are stuck in that position right now, then recognize and realize that you have a choice.
What is your superpower?
My strength and knowing that I can think it, believe it, and achieve it.
My ability to share my experiences.
Unconditional love.
Vulnerability, honesty, love.
I'm always willing to help people.
My heart.
I can love the people who have hurt me.
I can sense people.
Es resiliencia.
Being able to speak.
I'm a very, very fast learner.
The ability to relate to all different kinds of people.
I still always see the best part of every person.
Bringing people together.
I can find anything anywhere.
I'm very supportive.
Just superwoman on you.
Intuition.
Realizing my character.
To see the good in others.
Listening.
Courage.
My mother.
Authenticity.
To make friends.
Deep connection.
My ability to grow.
Helping others.
Growing.
Listen to my heart.
It's creativity and innovation.
Is recombobulation.
Is being me.
Seeing the world with wonderment.
Patient.
To understand at a very deep level.
Love.
Bring out the deeper parts in people.
To think logically.
Self-healing.
Motivate people from the heart.
A wszystkie kobiety, które dzisiaj słyszeliście, są dowodem na to, że ta zmiana jest warta tego, żeby ją podjąć i warta jest tego, żeby o siebie zawalczyć.
This was an experience that actually helped us learn how to love ourselves better.
Everything isn't happening to you. Everything's happening for you. We don't have to get trapped in the past story. Instead of believing that we're broken and wounded and nobody will ever love me, we need to shift that perspective and say, no, I'm a warrior. I survived the unthinkable. And now I am stronger and better. I have gone through it and I've come out even better than before.
Someone else out there is living our life. Someone else out there is living the life that all of these survivors and thrivers have escaped right here, right now. You can pick up any newspaper. You can go online to any news outlet and you'll hear about mostly women, some men, but mostly women who are killed by their boyfriends, who are killed by the children of their father. You hear it all the time. And so there's someone out there right now that is living your survivor story. And when you start speaking, you give that person hope. So suddenly, with the hope, they start to have this idea of choice. And that is really possible. That's where you can really help someone create great impact in that person's life, and if they stay on the path, they can then in turn create great impact in their life. They can end generations of trauma. They can end generations of codependency, generations of women and men picking the wrong partners and staying and not understanding what's going on. And I think that is so encouraging. And that's why you do what you do, because you want to encourage people to awaken and to take ownership over their life in a powerful way and to tell their story.
You just don't know what people have gone through in this life to live, to stay alive, to breathe, to not cry, to hide their laughter because someone else doesn't want them to laugh. Someone says, oh, well, blah, blah, blah has happened to me. Immediately take a breath and say, what if that were me? How could I handle that?
Your reality
can change, who you are can evolve. You need to focus on love to access the reality of who you are. You need to embrace love in your life.
But that's what we're missing in this universe. It's love. And that is the antidote to hate, crime, pain, depression, anxiety, and hurting each other.
Hi, thank you so much for watching this episode. And I would love to invite you for the next episode where Exposé experts are sharing all the ways of healing our mind after we leave an abusive relationship. If this episode resonates with you, please go to exposenetwork.com. You will find the link below, and we would love to learn more about you and your story. Could you do me a favor and share this episode with at least 2 of your friends who might be going through some difficult, challenging relationships? Remember, together we can make a difference. Thank you. You can thrive and you can be happy after an abusive relationship. Do you have a story to share?
It's night in the city, and I'm on my way back home. Humming on my favorite ditty, swinging like Natalie Cole. But then out of the blue, who strolls down the boulevard but you? Your place is closer than mine. Why don't we go there and have some more wine? 'Cause life is for living. Let's see where this all might lead. Let's see where this all might lead. Waking up to a brand new day in between your sheets, breaking up in the best of ways, and I'm back again on the street. Ooh, but then out of the blue, a wind starts blowing in ways so new, a world more exciting than mine is holding up a great